Welcome back to Keep Indiana Learning. My name is Tim Arnold, and I'm very excited to be here today with my fellow innovation coaches, Nicole Nelson and Amy Stevens. This is episode 6 in our dual book study discussing AI and education. In this book study series, we're digging into the books Co-Intelligence by Ethan Mollick and, like today, AI for Educators by Indiana educator and author Matt Miller. Whether you're here with us live or you join us later on the Keep Indiana Learning YouTube channel, we're here to explore these two wonderful books because we know as AI becomes increasingly integrated into society, it's crucial for educators to understand its potential to enhance teaching and learning. In our dual book study format, we'll take sections of each book to discuss, bringing some of the practical strategies and templates from AI for Educators, our topic today, into the discussion, as well as the research side and examples from AI from Co-Intelligence. So before we dive in here, let's do some introductions. My name is Tim Arnold. As I said, I'm a district e-learning specialist with Richmond Community Schools. I spent 26 years in the 7 through 12 social studies education classroom. I'm an innovation coach here with Keep Indiana Learning and an Indiana University Distinguished Jacobs Educator, and I serve as a member of the HEC board. Somebody take it away.
I love it. Hi, everyone. I'm Amy Stevens, a Project Lead the Way launch teacher for grades K through 5 in South Henry School Corporation, just East Central Indiana area, real close to Tim. I am also the technology integration specialist for my staff. I serve as a fellow innovation coach with Tim and Nicole at Keep Indiana Learning, an Apple Distinguished Educator, as well as an Armstrong Educator. So happy to be with you all. Nicole?
Hi, I'm Nicole Nelson. I'm the District Integrated Learning Coordinator for Lewis Cass Schools in Walton, Indiana. I've been in education for 25 years, mostly in primary grades, and then worked my way up to middle school teaching STEM. I've been in my current position for about 4 years now and an innovation coach for Keep Indiana Learning for the last 3 years.
Awesome. Thank you both so much for being here, and I look forward to learning with you today. The key question as we look at chapter 4 from Matt Miller's book, which looks like this. The key question is, how can we use AI to teach and learn authentically? So we're going to try to keep that in mind today as we talk about these myriad of examples that he gives us. So Matt actually offers 30 examples in this chapters, and he offers a prompt tip for each one. Yeah. So my question to you on the panel is, what is it that you've learned about prompting since you first started to work with AI? What is it that comes to mind and say, what have you learned? What are you better at now than when you first started?
Okay, I'm laughing hysterically because the three of us are probably feeling like, this roller coaster, right? Because when I first started getting really, I thought I was really good at Google searches. And then I would work with a younger teammate that was like really, really good at Google searches. And I was like, how did you get it to return that? And then she would teach me some think about keywords. So I was feeling like way up here. And then AI and, different sites we can use to enter a prompt came out. And then I started feeling down at the bottom of the roller coaster because I was like, it is not returning what I wanted it to return. And so I've been working more on refining my prompt and really, truly being a better prompt engineer so that I can get content that's more in line with what I'm either asking for or what I didn't know I needed to be asking for.
That's a good point. One of the things that I have heard at some point or other in the conferences and sessions that we've gone to around AI was ask it, does that make sense? Or do you understand? Or were these directions clear? And it will give you back, is this what you meant? This is what I understood from your prompt. Is this what you meant? And that really kind of helped to key in on how to reword the prompt so that you get the output that you are looking for.
I also learned to be polite. If you say thank you, it will return differently than if you ignore it and not even give it gratitude.
Yeah, I love that. I found myself doing that because I was with somebody one day and they say, do you have to say please? I said, well, you don't, but it just seems like the right thing to do. So let's see what we get. My big light bulb moment was telling it who it is.
Mm-hmm.
You are blank.
Okay.
Design something for me, to be as specific as I can with who I wanted them to embody as they were giving the information that they were giving. That was a big light bulb moment for me. And I like everything that you guys said, that especially that whole learning pit idea. I think as we've gone through AI, us especially, we've really gone into in and out of those learning pits to find our way. And that's why I love so much that he gives a prompt tip with every one of these 30 things that he talks about in this particular chapter. So this book came out in March of 2023. All right. And that doesn't seem too long ago to any of us, but how things have changed in the world of AI since then. And I love that it still holds up, right? We know how much has changed in the world of AI in education, but this book is still, it's right there. Right there where it needs to be. And so as we start looking at some of these things, what we decided to do, folks, was just pick 2 or 3 that we thought were really interesting and discuss and share those with you. But know that if you have the book, that there are 30 examples for you to look at.
Yeah. Would it be okay for us to put up on the screen just like an overview of all 30, just to kind of have that end in mind? Yes, that's kind of what I'm thinking, is just this whole idea of, can you see it scrolling?
Yes.
Okay, good. I love how Matt Miller does such a great job of capturing teaching and learning that is like, it's always good, no matter the technology, right? And he's been just really insightful on pairing ways to include AI into what is already best practice. So I just thought, quickly we could kind of show all 30. I know it's small, but we'll dig in, and then we just invite you to use the resources and supplements that Matt has posted on his website on AI for Educators. We don't get any feedback or compensation from him and whatsoever. We just really love the resources he's put out there.
Absolutely.
And he's so ahead of his time, right? One of the things, so when I read this for the second time to prep for this, after reading it the first time, we're like, wow, this is so innovative. And like, I love the way that you're using AI in these interesting ways with students. And now reading it again, I'm like, hey, there's already a prompt for that, or there's a tool for that now, or there's a specific program that does that now. Like, he was ahead of his time.
100%. That's exactly what I thought. I mean, it was a visionary work at its time, and it still holds up. But now we have all these examples that we can use to apply to that. The first one that I pulled out to share today was number 3, which is use AI to remix student work. Because I felt like it went right to the heart of creation over consumption for students, using AI to remix student work. And I just love that idea with any kind of AI, no matter what tool you choose. I like that students do the initial work first. I want them to do something that is the ticket to use the AI, because I want there to be work done on their part. I want them to have started generating some idea, some thought, some diagram, something. And then that's their ticket. They're in, whether they're going to use Magic School or Canva or Adobe Express or Padlet or whatever wonderful things are out there. Now they're ready to off and run and really get those iterations going of whatever they're trying to create for themselves.
I love that one too. It makes me want to shout out like remix. It's like you get your work and then all of a sudden the whole class comes together. That could be like a class chant or a little class call. I love it.
Yeah. One of the interesting ways that I've seen using AI to be remixed was the rap battle tool in Magic School, I think, has one. I'm sure some others do, but where you take your content, create a rap, and then throw it into an AI like music generator that creates the music behind it. Just what an interesting way to remix some creative outlet that students are going to do anyway, in a unique and interesting way. So lots of ideas.
Yeah, fun stuff. I pulled out number 12 as well, using AI to facilitate group work. And this is one I think that's probably not utilized enough. I wish I would have had this, because an AI chatbot can provide you with creative ways to create your groups, create jobs or tasks within the groups, create a tool to gather the information as they move from group to group. It can even create a choose your own adventure experience, and you can theme it after something that students are obsessed with at the time, with tasks at each group or level or challenge. And think Chat GPT, think Magic School. And I loved his pro tip, again, of telling the chatbot who it is to get better results faster.
Yeah, I think that one of the points in that section was, consider yourself, if you're a new teacher, or if you are teaching a subject that maybe you haven't taught in a long time, like consider Chat GPT or whatever program that you're using as your expert in that content area, and using it as kind of your teaching assistant to get some ideas or just kind of refresh. Again, is this right? Am I thinking of this in the right terms? Definitely a great thought partner.
Yes. Isn't that a great term? That's a great way to think about AI as a thought partner. I find myself trying to say that intentionally when I'm working with teachers and students, because it's just the best way to think about it. I know part of that is because of the work we've done with the Ethan Mollick book and the research, but I really have come to lean into that phrase a lot.
Yeah, definitely. I like. I think it's number 5. So I don't know if we're jumping around a little bit, but using AI for feedback. Whether you're putting in a rubric, and so the prompt is specific so that students' work, they're getting feedback specifically on what you're looking for. Along with that, grading the AI. So using your rubric, have AI create, an exemplar or a model piece that students can use to really hone in on the rubric and the expectations, and when they go to do their work, what is going to be expected of them. So they've gone through that process, grading the AI a little bit too. I kind of like those kind of in conjunction with each other.
And I love that kiddos have, that instant access to either, try again, and this is what you can use to try again, or learn a different way of thinking about it. And it's just right there, even in a class of like 28 plus students, each child is getting that instant feedback. Excuse me.
Yeah. Shrinking that feedback loop is so powerful. Maybe the most powerful thing that AI could do in education. We all know, we've been there, if it's a larger assignment, they're going to give it to you and you're going to take it and do your really best on it in your work, but it takes so much time. Now, as a part of the process, they can get a little feedback along the way, and you can still have those conversations with maybe half of those 30 kids, while the other 15 are getting some feedback through the AI. And you're going to arrive, I think, at a much better place. And you really haven't lost your connection to it because the rubric was yours, right? They're still working on the same stuff that you want them to be working on. Just that feedback loop has been shortened.
Yeah.
Sure.
Another thing that he talks about in one of these examples is think, pair, chatbot, pair, right? And so I'm thinking of a quote that I took away from a conference that I've attended recently, and she was specifically talking about this feedback loop, and she said, her struggle with peer feedback was, I'm pairing 2 students who have a similar skill set together, and so they're providing feedback for each other, but one doesn't really know any more than the other does. Neither one of them are getting anything out of it. But if we pair that conversation with, well, this is what the AI told me, and this is what the AI told me, and then they can have that conversation with each other, how much more powerful is that conversation boost for them then?
I had the same one, Nicole. I loved this usage of an AI tool in the classroom because, traditionally, sometimes we pair maybe like a student that may be a little bit more comfortable with the content with a student that may not be as comfortable with the content. So we're like really relying on one or the other to do their part in this think, pair, share activity, right? Or sometimes we get kiddos that just get a little nervous, or just may just be having an off day, or just may have no prior content knowledge or connection with the content. But when you add that AI into it, it's adding a vision and angle to the conversation that was not there before. And I love that you're saying that they could both, compare the responses from the AI. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's you're right back to that thought partner idea.
Yeah.
I love everything about that.
Mm-hmm.
Most definitely. Most definitely.
So I pulled out number 25 is one I wanted to mention. Use AI to create leveled text sets. Because I think differentiation is where I think AI can have the most impact for students. And I know it's the biggest time saving for teachers.
Yeah.
Text leveling, scaffolding, translating, or clearly explaining, think like step-by-step explanations, are all tasks that teachers do all the time and take so much time just to remove barriers for their students. And so AI can be a great help here. And he gives a pro tip on that one too. Ask AI to use specific vocabulary words or specific language or literary devices to make something a bit simpler or even a bit more complex as you're working on, because you can scale it up or scale it down. So I think for me, that's a great time-saving tip for teachers to look at the differentiation possibilities with AI.
I agree. I love that you use the word barrier, because it is able to, if you're doing a comprehension activity, it is able to remove maybe the actual reading phonics part as a barrier and focus in, did the child truly understand and can apply what was, learned in this this learning activity. And I've actually used that frequently, especially with my multi-language learning group, just to see like, what is the barrier? Is it reading in English? Is it reading fluency? Is it, like, what is it? And if I can level the text, then I can find out, okay, comprehension is there. Good. This is there. Good. This is not there. Okay. Good to know. So I'm really glad that you pulled that one out.
I like the tools now too, that you can say, I want to keep these vocabulary words, adjust the text to meet the level of the students, but keep these vocabulary words and so that you can still, like you were saying, Tim, practice at a certain level or with a certain skill, whether that's a literary device or, key vocabulary for some content area.
One of my favorite ones is number 8, because this is how I started with AI. Ask AI for advice. I mean, it sounds so silly because it's like, oh my gosh, this is like not a human. But at the same time, it's super interesting to see what it returns. And it could be advice on many different things. In Matt's book, he talks more about like managing stress or good ideas for like mental well-being. A lot of times for me, I mean, I'm the only one in my building that does what I do. I'm the only one that does the STEM program. I'm the only one that's a technology integration specialist. And if I didn't have my innovation coaches, could be very lonely, right? And so when I'm planning a PD or when I'm planning something that is specifically for my group of students or my staff, it is so lovely to ask the AI for advice and see what gets returned to make that experience just a little bit more meaningful. Maybe introduce areas or angles that I didn't think to include.
Yeah, I agree with what you said there. I think, like most people, I started my AI journey probably with ChatGPT. But when we transitioned to Magic School here in our district, even before we purchased it, I was using individual tools. But when I switched to the chatbot, it changed everything, because now I could ask for more and more complex questions and layer those into my prompt. And then the chatbot was pulling in the tools as I needed them. And I was getting amazing results. And so that's kind of where I start now. I start with the chatbot rather than with an individual tool. And that's been a big change. So, we talked about those learning pits earlier. That's one that really got me through. I was like, oh, light bulb moment. Here we go. I'm going to start here.
Tim, that just got me thinking. I wonder if there's something out there that is like an AI world glossary, right? Because I started thinking about this before we signed in today. Some some of our co-teachers may not be as well versed with some of the terms and how this can work. Different tools that are available and different ways to use different tools, or an extension can do one thing, but this site does a different thing. I wonder if there's something out there that could kind of like help sort of like a Cliff's Notes for AI.
Yeah.
At this point, it's definitely needed. There's so many tools that do have focused on so many different areas, right? This tool for feedback, and this tool
Right.
for creation, and this tool for personalized learning. And so, yeah, it's definitely needed.
Yeah, and this will create a bot that will simulate this experience in your, that could just be it. So if you're listening and you're feeling like, what? Just know that we got you. Starting out with this book is a great way of getting started. And it's just really, truly like, go slow to go fast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 100% there. You mentioned the book again, and this book, go along with this book, there are some great resources. Matt also has an incredible website. If you go there, there's a blog tab. And right now, if you click on the blog, there's one entitled How AI Can Make Any Template Work for Your Class. And he gives 8 examples, including prompts. So make sure you check that out when you have a chance.
Oh, I'm glad that you said that.
Yeah.
Speaking of, using it in learning experiences, just AI does such a wonderful, wonderful job of creating personalized learning experiences. And I know, Nicole, this really spoke to you as well. I immediately thought of one of our good friends, Nadine Gilkinson, and how she and her daughter, Mackenzie, have been just a really lovely presence at many conferences, and just getting the word out on how AI can personalize learning for a student, and specifically a freshman in high school. It's just truly wonderful to see the work that has been done, and how between again, a freshman and her mom, who happens to be a technology, I call her a tech queen, just an awesome presence in our world. And then also Holly Clark has been largely involved with her. They have worked together just to showcase, how an AI tool can really truly make a difference in a child's learning and their educational journey.
Yeah.
If you get a chance to hear them speak, please do. They'll be at many of the Summer of Learning conferences again this summer.
But Nicole, was there something else that you wanted to add into that personalized learning? Because there's so many different ways we could discuss that.
Yeah. Well, 2, I think of the tools that come to mind when I want students to be able to have the opportunity to be in control of their learning, right? Is Magic Student, which is a part of Magic School, and School AI. Also has like a student-facing opportunity, right? And so some of the tools that we have available to us as teachers on each of those platforms, students have as well. And you can really create kind of a safe space for students to interact with a chatbot that you've kind of set the parameters and the guardrails up. And then they can interact and have some of these experiences. One of the teachers that I work with did this with her students, and she just put in some standards that she was working on, and said, basically, I want it to be a tutor for these students, and they can kind of take it whichever direction they want to go. And afterwards, I was asking the students, well, what, did you like that? How did it go? And they were like, yes, this was great. I really liked how, even if I got it wrong, it was still nice to me. And it still said, nice try, but here's how, let's rework this. It was so cute.
That's so funny that they're like holding other things accountable for what they're being held accountable in the classroom. Like, be respectful. I love it.
Right.
Yeah.
That is so funny. Just thinking about another one and I could keep going because I know there's 30, but there's more. But this one is one that I do a lot of work with, not only with Project Lead the Way, but with Apple. And it's just that empowering students to make a difference in the world, to get out there, to have a way to tell their story, sometimes creatively, but all the time, just making sure that like the students are embracing and familiarizing themselves with what's available, and that we as educators are linking arms and saying like, okay, this might be uncharted waters for us, but this is part of our students' world today and most likely tomorrow too, right? So getting out there, making a difference in the world, and with AI, this was so neat. It said that a student loaded a social entrepreneurship project from last year and asked ChatGPT to find everything wrong with the solution. First of all, I love that, like looking for failures. It created a list of flaws to redesign the project, build a new prototype designed to connect grandparents and their grandchildren. It was amazing. So again, I keep hearing thought partner. This was a way that a child was able to say like, okay, what next? Okay, what next? And when I'm thinking of that engineering design process, how you make it all the way to explain, and then that arrow goes right back again to ask, where you are prompted to ask another question to keep diving deeper into that learning. And in this case, it's with real world problems or real world situations that an AI tool could absolutely empower students to make a difference in our world.
Yeah, definitely. That made me think of a different teacher that I heard speaking, sharing an experience that they had with a student, and the student said that they were working on their writing and using kind of the AI like a thought partner. And they said, it just kept asking me. It made me think deeper. It just kept asking me questions. And I had to go back and really think about all of these things that it, because it doesn't stop. It just keeps asking. And she said, and I even took that line of thinking, right? The way of thinking about something where I just kept digging into my next class. I was using AI in writing, but when I went to social studies, I kept thinking that way. And, as we discuss critical thinking and, is AI going to take that away? Like, that situation really made me think, maybe not. Maybe it will encourage that critical thinking. And if I can learn, AI keeps asking me these questions and I have to dig deep, maybe that's a way that we can kind of empower students to continue that even without those prompts.
Yeah.
That is incredible. It's like a little Olaf, like, yeah, why? Yeah,
right.
Why?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So as you can tell out there, I think we could talk about this for days on end, right? There's so many examples, 30 examples alone in this chapter. But we're going to call it a day for our part on this. And please get a copy of the book and take a look at chapter 4 and dive into those 30 examples and see what really sticks with you. We'd like to thank you so much for joining us today. And we hope you enjoyed our conversation and digging into this text. And a few things to consider as we sign off. How can educators make small shifts every day to leverage a creative partner with AI to develop more engaging lessons or projects? What are some ways AI could inspire student creativity in your classroom? And what's one example from today that you could use with your students tomorrow? We'd love for you to ponder these questions and let us know your responses. We have many more amazing discussions and idea sharing opportunities throughout the semester as a part of this live stream series. Be sure to join us next time as Brenny Coomer leads our discussion on Ethan and Malick's book, Co-Intelligence, Chapters 7 and 8. It promises to be an EIAIO good time.
Well done. I love it. You got your joke in.